Lalita, I think it should be okay. It doesn't really bothering that much.
Oh, I'm sorry, I muted. Do you see the video?
Yes.
Yes, we see the video, but not the
Okay.
sound.
Okay, you hear it, nah? So this is I just show you how beautiful of the coral reef is in Thailand, and how the biodiversity in Thailand is quite high, and there are a lot of animal organisms in the coral reefs. So what I'm going to talk about the status of coral reefs, both in the global and in Thailand. And the next topic is about the trees and coral rehabilitation in Thailand. So first about the status of coral reef around the world. I think if you are, I'm sorry, both of you are the working on corals and coral reefs, or isn't it right?
Yeah.
So maybe you already used to with this picture that how the coral reefs around the world at the present day look like. The blue, this is the chart that identify the coral reef status around the world. On the right hand side, you see that at the present, we still see a lot of them had the low pressure with the blue color and medium pressure with the yellow color, and red and black colors indicate that the coral reefs are the risk in the risk status. For the next 30 years, you can see that most of coral reefs around the world will be in the list, threatened by some of the factors, which is probably different between side to side. The red one, coral will be on the threatened high and very high threatening side, and the black will be the critical status. Does that mean that probably some site will be threatened by the climate change or the pollutants or the water quality, but in general, overall, the coral reef of the world will be bad situation for the next 30 years. What about the trend of the coral reef survival? This has this is the IUCN Land-Use Index. On the y-axis, you will see the index of the number of index, so the species survival. So it means that if the index or the number is 1, it means that coral will be survive very well. And if the low number is mean that coral that animal species will be had a low capacity for the survival. And you can see that our coral is here. So compared to the other organisms, birds, mammals, reptiles, amphibians, you can see that, I mean, their status is more or stable, but our coral reef, after mass coral bleaching, like repeats time to time for in the recent years, and also other storming and natural disaster. So for the index, IUCN try to forecast coral reef life and show that their survival rate very low and low, reducing. So, but that means our coral reef yeah, it's very in the dangerous status. And this is a global coral reef status. How about in Thailand? So let's see from the right hand side first. Actually, we have about 300 stations across Thai water. You can see we have in the Gulf of Thailand here, and this is in the Andaman Sea. So coral reef will be monitoring for all stations. This station, we work together between the Department of Marine Coastal Resources and the Department of National Marine Park. So we are both together, work together. The blue one, the blue one is from the DMCR, my department, and the pink one is work from National Park. So together we will have many coral stations that we monitoring coral yearly. So we will update coral status every year. And looking at the status, long-term monitoring here, the lower left, the green color is mean coral in the good status, moderate in yellow, and poor in red color. So the status we calculate from the ratio between living coral and dead coral. If live and dead coral equal 1, so it's moderate, and if more than 1, it's good status, and if less than 1, so it's poor. So this is lovely to check to evaluate our coral reef status. And if you see that, the trend for our coral reef status, you will see that, you can see here, you see my cursor, right? After 2010, we got mass coral bleaching here. So it's made our coral reef very poor, like about 80% of our coral reefs around the world after mass coral bleaching in 2010. So many of coral dead. And after that, coral get recovery year to year, and see that most of them can recover, but still at the present, this is update data last year. So we have about 55% of coral reef in the good status, and like a few of them, 17% is still in the poor condition. So overall, coral reef in Thailand are doing very well in the term of recovery after the mass coral bleaching in that year. And I think in Indonesia and many places around the world also get the same condition in that year. I mean, everywhere in Thailand, almost everywhere in Thailand turned white, and most of them die. So this is a little bit contrast with the global coral reef status. Many places around the world, like the coral status get like bad and bad, but most of our coral reef in Thailand get better now. For the monitoring, what we do as I told you that we do the coral reef monitoring each year. And what we collect the data, so we collect the the data that we collect to estimate the status. So we collect coral cover, fish communities, coral disease, amount of the juvenile corals, macrobenthos, and also the base that we found in the coral reefs. So this is, I would like to show you just lastly that you get the idea what we are working underwater when coral reef surveying team get into the water, what the data, how we work. So I hope you see the video. So we use the coral reef surveying by line transect method. So when we jump into the water, we place the transect, like a 50-meter transect. Yeah, and then we use the island bar to make. So for the next year, we will go back and try to find the same island bar. So this is kind of permanent transect. For the first time, it's easy for installing, but for the next time, you have to go back and find out the island bar. So this is not easy, especially in the place that the water gets turbid. So the first thing we do, we jump, the fish guy come first to try to don't interrupt the community, because of fish can swim, but coral cannot. That's why fish come first. So correcting the fish species composition. And then after this doesn't matter, and you guys can come after and come follow the fish guy. So next coral. So we use 3 meters. We use the line intercept transect method. And with the 30 meters for corals. And also juvenile corals, we use the 1 square meter quadrat and count the number of the juvenile corals. The coral that's the size less than 5 centimeters, so we count it as the recruitment. And also the disease or compromised health signs, anything that look abnormal, so we record the data. And macrobenthos, for example, the sea urchin, cucumber, stars, cow of thorn. So record the number and species. This we use the 2.5 meters distance from the line transect. And then the next marine debris. So record types and size of the debris, including the life form of the corals that may get the damage from those debris. So that's all about the what we do, the coral surveying for about 300 stations around Thailand each year, and then we do the yearly report to the government. And how about the risk factors in Thailand? I think this is the same as many places around the world, that coral reef got many risk factors. But in Thailand, the main factor that threatening our coral now is about tourism, global warming, disease, and sediment. So we will through factor by factors. For the climate change and coral bleaching, so I think this one already know that when the temperature is increasing, so coral getting pale and then white finally because of their luminosity, and then dead if the temperature or the physical factor not return to normal in the short time, coral will get die. As I told you a bit about the coral bleaching in Thailand, and this bar, the bar here indicate the year from 1990 to the present 2022. This bar indicate the coral bleaching in Thailand. So the blue one means no coral bleaching. Green is bleaching in the mild level. Yellow moderate level, and red several level. And you will see the global sign above the bar. That means the global scale, the coral bleaching in the global scale. So you can see from here that not every bleaching in the global scale, and Thailand will get mass coral bleaching. For example, in 1998, that many places around the world get bleaching, but in Thailand just bleach specific places, so it's just my level. 2010, so this is we also got mass bleaching with the same other place around the world. In 2015, 2016, yeah, this is also the third coral mass coral bleaching around the world, and we got just only my bleaching, just only specific place. And then after that, we also got another time, the last time in 2019, and last 3 years, we don't really get the coral bleaching in Thailand. I will tell you a bit. There are some bleaching report, but not because of the temperature increasing. Yeah. The bleaching here, it happened because of water level getting low more than normal, and coral exposed to the air for a longer time, and then coral get bleaching. And in this case, the deep water or submerged whole time coral for the coral that submerged underwater for the whole time, they will not get the bleaching, just only the one that exposed to the air. So this is not caused from the increasing temperature, and just only few places that show bleaching in the 2021. So the other treating factor to coral bleaching, to coral reef, so is also the marine debris and coral disease. And another thing is crowd of the tourists. I think this probably happened the same to the other beautiful coral reefs and the beaches. Yeah, many people would like to come, and many people, many speedboat, and many speedboat can create the sediment from the traveling. It also can cause the damage of coral bleaching. Marine debris is also one of the main of our treating factors. I will show you. I mean, I have been diving for about 20 years. I think none of dives that I haven't seen the debris. I mean, every time I dive, I see everywhere the marine debris in the coral reef. So this is, for example, what the behavior of the debris underwater. The fishing net. So this is kind of, for me, sometimes is turned to be the normal scenery when I dive, because of you will see the garbage almost all the time when we go diving. But it's still good that we also have the volunteer and the diver that keep clean the reef. We have many diving communities that inform each other when which one see the divers, and inform on the social media, and many people make a group or event. Recently, last 2 years, 2021, maybe some of you hear that we have a big case of the fishing net cover our coral reef for the huge area in Losin and the Manvichai in the Gulf of Thailand. So this is also one of the two of the biggest case of the ghost net that covering the coral reef, and the government together with the many private sector try to get them out. So which is a big big event, because of the area. The Losin is quite beautiful but far from the coast. So to get there is quite costly. So you need a good team and good transportation to get there. We think that because of 2021, not many divers travel underwater because of the COVID pandemic. So not many tourists that keep an eye on the reefs when they see when the first opening. I mean the permission, the government permit diver can dive in that area. So they found that the big case, the big net, and they try to make the event to remove it. So this is some data that I show you that when we survey coral reef, so we correct the type of marine debris and the amount. So this information, we try to get this information, and then so we can know that which area has the problem from what kind of the debris. You can see that the blue and the yellow one is mean the fishing and the rope. I mean the fishing gear related, and some site dominant by the drinking can or drinking water that will be happen in the area that there are many tourists. So then you know that if you would like to reduce the marine debris, you can use this information to plan or to manage to reduce those activity source of the debris. Next, so this one I already talked something a little bit, yellow band tissue loss disease. This is the first time. So this disease I first suspected in 2021. So this is first time that we find the outbreak of the disease in the skeleton corals. Actually, we had outbreak of disease in the Gorgonian and sea fan after the tsunami in the Andaman Sea. But this is the first time that we have outbreak of coral disease in the skeleton corals, in the hard coral. So this is quite big news of in our television and social media. Yeah, I show you that in the Gulf of Thailand, only two big spot. I think one main big spot is here. This is the Chonburi province. So only about 15 stations here that we found coral disease, and for now at least 15 coral species got infected from the disease. And just recently, last month, I just got new report that the driver found, they sent a picture. I mean, after we broadcast about the yellow band disease to the television, to the social media, so people have an eye what is the, they know what is the, how the yellow disease look like. I believe that coral yellow disease is not first exist in 2021, but since their color, the yellow, people, they don't really recognize it is a disease. I think Thai people recognize the problem on coral with the white color, with the bleaching. So if they turn white, so that is a problem of the corals. But yellow one, most of the people did not really recognize that they are the problem. That's why when I saw it, it's already outbreak. So it means that we saw many places in that area, almost every places in that area. I will show you more the detail. And again, last month, I just found, I just got the report from another site we call Samui, Got Tao Island. So we found just only one specific, some specific colony in some specific area, but just only one coral species. This is a copra species. So this is in general that we got the information and the distribution of the disease. And here, this specific area, I try to do the prevalence of the disease, try to get the hypothesis that where is the hotspot or where is the starting point of the disease. But the result is not that clear. So you see that the yellow spot, it means that coral disease was surveyed by the bell transect method. So in this case, we can qualify the percent of coral or the infect coral to the normal corals. But the orange spot, this one we survey by the spot check. So we know that the disease exists, but we cannot really qualify the number or the percent of the disease. And then we found that there are just only 3 sites here that with the green color that we don't really found the disease here. So again, probably you can look, this is what we see, the disease, it look like ugly to me. You can see that the disease is really killing the coral here. And another thing that I found, when the yellow sign appear to the corals, so they will die anyway, slow or fast, but the coral will die for the whole colony after they got the disease. And here we found that with the acropora, the rate of extension of the disease is about 3 to 10 centimeters per month. And for porritis, so the extension rate is about 1 to 3 centimeters per month. So for in case of acropora, it's quite fast. Anyway, slow or fast, the whole colony will die after the disease appear. So from here, that we got that the coral is very useful for many tasks, for the education, for the habitat of animals, for the income of the human, protection for the coastal, and make some medicine. But at the same time, the status is quite in the danger status because of the many treatments, and also the global warming will be not stopped. So there are many threatened factors, and our coral is in the danger status. And that's why we have at the same time, for the monitoring, at the same time we also doing and learning about the coral rehabilitation. Actually, coral rehabilitation in Thailand is I think is first the first activities started about 1994. So we start from the coral transplantation, as everyone should be know. But for the, and we do for the long time, we learn for the coral species and size, which coral species should pick the size, the size of the fragment that we use. So, I'm sorry, again. We study the species and appropriate size if you would like to do the coral transplantation. But for the direct transplantation, we learned that we need a bigger size to get the high survival rate. So in 2005, we got the technique of coral nursery. This one, we try to reduce size of the coral fragment by use like a finger size of the fragment. But if the finger size is probably, if you do the direct transplantation, the survival rate should be low because of the high sedimentation and also the predation as for example for the urchin. In Thailand, we also found that the urchin also eat our small fragment if you transport them in the small size. So we in this case we cut the small size of the fragment and then we nursery them first at the middle of the middle water nursery. This one because of in the middle floating nursery, so raise sediment unless predator, and then they can grow well after a while, about 1 year. So when they grow enough, so you transport them back to the place, to the reef that you would like to restore them. And another, okay, another technique that we use together with the coral transplantation in 1994 is about providing artificial substrate. In this case, our researcher find out that in some place that they have many of juvenile corals or small corals, a lot on the substrate, but the reef never recovery for the long time, like after 5 years, 7 years, after the disturb or disruption from the storm. So they just think that because just probably because of the those juvenile or or small corals, they recruit on the non-stable substrate because of after coral reef got the damage from the storm. So the coral break down into the small pieces of the fragment. So and create the non-stable substrate for the new recruitment. And so there's a thing that, so probably the better way to support them to recovery is provide artificial stable substrate to them. But in this case, it's you have to be sure that the juvenile coral or small coral is available in that that site, because of we try this we also try this technique in many places, but it wasn't success for every places. So that's only the place that water quality is good and juvenile coral is available. Because of course, if you provide any good substrate, but if there is no the juvenile in the water, so it doesn't matter. No new recruitment anyway. So this is I'm showing you the floating coral nursery that we did. So we do like a simple material. So we use the finger fragment, the one that already almost dead because of the loose from the probably from the wind or wave, and some case we just cut from the mother colony, natural mother colony, just the finger size. But this size, if you do the direct transportation, the survival rate will be low. So we nursery them about 1 year. See, and then we transport them back to the reef. So this is 1 year and 5 years after transportation. So now it's not easy to find the metal bar or the base that you connect the fragment anymore. And then after they grow up, so you can use those for the mother colony and do the and like make the like a fragment size and do the nursery for the next generation. This is another video also show you for the installation of the after a year on the nursery. So this is another way that we do the transplantation. So we create for the island bar, island table, something like that. You can see that for the substrate now, there is none of the reefing coral. Most of them is the dead fragment. See? And here, after this is 2 years after we installation, so you can see that the leaf, the animal, the leaf is going up, and then the animal will come. You have more life here, more life here. Okay, and this is a 5 year after nothing, after transportation. Before it's nothing, but now they are not only for animal, but now the leaf turned to be the diving site. Many tourists come and diving here, so you have another diving site available. And also we attach the broken fragment to the artificial reef. At the beginning, you have just only the bare cement block, and now on the surface we attach the coral, the broken one, and also the new recruitment also attached on the surface of the artificial reef. So this is a comparison about 5 years after the small fragment. And here also 5 years after we first setting up for the artificial reef. And then, so this is some of them we attach the broken coral from the reef here, and also some of them just new recruit here and then grow up. So in the past, we do all these activities that I just told you by the volunteer, and many and the public participation in the coral reef activities. I mean, from the everyone, and most of them are in the experiment scale to learn the technique, the method, the which one is good and bad, until okay, I mean generation to generation we learn a lot from together with the volunteer and the researcher. And here this is a beginning minutes about the coral rehabilitation in Thailand. That and at that first activity that they try to create the artificial reef for coral recruitment. So there are many shapes, the ball, and this 22 years after installation. So from 1991, 22 years have passed. You can see that it's difficult to distinguish between the coral reef, natural coral reef, and artificial reef, because the real coral, the natural coral, cover the substrate totally. So there are many years. So we do more and more. So this is the 7th year. Here, that's the past. But recently, since 2017, so before 2017, 2017, we use the transplantation, we use the technique of coral nursery and providing the artificial reef for the juvenile corals. But since 2017, we explore that in the coral reef, in many places in the coral reef, we found small pieces of living coral move around. I mean, this one we call coral of opportunities. So the coral that broken off from the reef, maybe from the wave action storm, or even from the tourists, from the boat anchor, many things. So I mean, we found a lot, but I mean, not every place, not every reef have this kind of coral of opportunities, but many sites we found this kind of coral fragment. I mean, before I have been diving for a long time, but before I don't really pay attention on this kind of piece of corals. But since we explore it, so if you're searching for the next time, if you have a chance diving to the coral reef, probably you can searching them. There are many of them like hiding in the coral reef. And then we used to, and we have the hypothesis that if they can survive and create to the reef, they already have it. I show you here first. Here in the coral reef or out of the coral reef, like this is just like out of the coral reef, there look like there is nothing, but actually there are many pieces of living coral, something like this. And we thought that they're gonna be that the survival rate of them should be very low. Otherwise, those coral fragments should be created to the reef, but no. So we thought if they, because of they can move, if they move around by the wave and wind, and then finally probably they should be covered by sand. And we thought that we should use the benefit of, we should take them as the benefit and use them to do the rehabilitation activities. So we attach them, as I told you, that if they move around, their survival rate should be low. So we try to attach them with the stable substrate. So we create 3 types of the substrate, which is a cement block, metal bar, and dead coral substrate, which is this one like a stable dead coral substrate, the one that like a massive coral die and then create the space, some space, so we can can attach those coral of opportunity to that place. So the technique, the substrate for attach those coral is different place to place, depend on the condition. So this project we do with the not only the government, not only my department, but together with the private sector and also the volunteer. We got many trained volunteers to get and help to collect the fragments, the corals, small corals, and then attach them by sometimes with the epoxy, the glue that you can work underwater, and also sometimes with the cable tie. You see that this is a small fragment that we can collect from the reef, and then everyone try to attach them with the stable substrate. And then from 2017 until last year, so we did together for the whole country about 0.5 0.3 square kilometers. So there are many places, and the number of, but with this method, so we cannot really control the species because of it depends on whatever you found in the coral reef. So you use those coral fragments to attach, and then for the monitoring, we do monitoring survival rate of the transplant coral fragment and also the area cover. So for the monitoring, we take a photo quadrat size. It's 1+1 meter, so 1 square meter, and also identify the transplanted coral say that living one, dead, or missing. And we use the picture from the product and measuring the area cover with the software in the computer. Not only the coral itself, but we also try to monitor the fish community and macrobenthic communities because of we just thought that when we do the rehabilitation, coral reef rehabilitation, not only coral that we should focus, but we also should monitor the community. Because of at one point, if the leaf can recover, so it should be reflect to the animal, the biodiversity in the reef. So we do monitor together with fish and macrobenthic. So this is the example of the result. So they this is 2 years. I think you don't really recognize that. So at some place you have to find the iron bar to see that this is really your corals, because of when you start you use just only the small pieces, but some place they grow very fast, especially the bunching one, cobra coral, so they grow very well. Don't worry, not always good. I will give you a bad example also. This is the good one first. So the as I told you, the species of coral is difficult to control because of we use whatever we found in the leaf. And it also depends on the depth. This one at Lalita, so it's a little bit deeper because of we cannot really find the good substrate to put our cement block. So it's a little bit deep, and coral we grow in the wild, not high, not make a massive coral in the vertical part, but they will extend and cover the cement. So of course there are some losing and also and this one is they are all the good example, but of course we also have many places that the survival rate very low. I show you the example. Some of them because of algae grow cover the corals, or some of them they just die probably because of when you collect. The survival is depend on where you collect the sample, where do you collect the fragment. Of course, as I told you that the fragment that you got is they came from the sand. The broken one, probably the one that you got is not healthy or good enough. And also the place that you put the substrate is also the key factor for the survival rate. What we got from the data, so as I told you about, we record the survival rate and the area cover. Here, the blue color indicate the survival rate as a percent, and the orange color indicate the area cover. In this technique, I think you need to do the permanent quadrat. Otherwise, you don't really follow up for the growth rate because of you start with the colony that different size. So this one, if you cannot average the fragment that you have the different size at the beginning, so the data will cannot comparable. But we try to manage to get the same product. Many of them. I mean, it's not easy. You have to find the same spot for the long monitoring. It's not that easy, especially in the area that water quite turbid. And then so you identify the coral species and status and measure the area cover for the top side. I'm sorry. Here you can see that the survival rate is like reducing through the time, of course. And in this data set, we monitor for 18 months. You can see that the survival rate is a little bit slow increasing, also reducing, but at the same time, if you see the area cover, so the coral, the survival one, they are bigger, but some error is also because of maybe they're losing at some point, so make your data is a little bit kind of confusing. Actually, the data from this set is quite a little bit confusing because of, as I told you, that the species is variety, and because of we focus that the one that you found, whatever you found, so probably this technique is probably kind of the activity to help the corals, but to set up or to design the experimental design is probably difficult to do and to summarize them. Also, I'm sorry, this is the data from the one that you attach the coral fragment on the stable dead coral substrate, and this one on the cement block. On the cement block, you can see that the survival rate is also reducing, and the area cover, the one that survive, the one that survive, they glow up, and you can see that they're a little bit glowing. Okay, and the detail, actually, at the detail we try to monitoring at every first 3 months, 6 months, a year, and year and a half. Try to do that, but it's also not every places can monitoring as we plan because of storm, because of turbidity, that we cannot really find the spot. This really happen because of we do a lot of the area, transporting area, so not all of them that we can found. This is, I have to tell you. But we learned that at some site, you can see here, they can survive. I mean, the blue one is mean survive, the green one, and the gray color is mean dead, and black color is mean missing. For example, this site, the survival for the first 3 months is very high, and then half a year, just less than 20%. Most of them dead, just because of, in this case, because of you already think that the place that you do the transplantation is already good, but underestimate is for the season, for the next season, wind come and then create a sand, and the sand creates they make, when the sand come quite strong, when we come strong, and then create the sand cover the coral, and they kind of scratch the tissue, and this one is underestimated because of every place we already thought that is good, but the thing is maybe it's good for not every season, and at the end for this site, the survival rate is less than 5%. So we learn a lot because of, as I said, if you remember the site that we do the transplantation, there are many places around Thailand, and every place has their own specific condition, specific weather, physical parameters, so everything can make the survival rate high or low. And this one, another case that I would like to give you an example. This size, you see that coral is already big from the small fragment that we use, and at some point they got bleaching because of the site that we do the transplantation too near to the river mouth, and then they got the bleaching because of the too much fresh water. And another case at the Samui Island is because of storm, the big storm coming and create very high mortality of the transplanted coral. So that all example of coral transplantation, like in the last 5 years in Thailand, that we try to use the coral of opportunities, the small fragments that are available on the natural substrate. So in this case, you don't have to broken or separate the fragment from the natural mother colonies, but you use the one that already broken or is already found in the reef. And another effort that my department try to do is reproduction one that my team try to collect the gamete corals and then fertilize them in the lab, and then let the larvae settle in the substrate, and then the idea is transplant the substrate that coral attached back to the reef. But we learned that how hard, how energy, how much that you have to pay with the technique, and comparing with the small fragment that you already found in the reef. So reproduction, like a rehabilitation by reproduction, is quite costly. The manpower and also the money compared to the one that I just tell you about the coral of opportunity. But anyway, we try to learn because of we need to find this scale is like for the experimental scale. We learned that with species that can be done in the lab, and many species we don't really got the successful to do the fertilize in the laboratory, in the hatchery. So this is all about the effort of coral transportation in Thailand and about coral reef in Thailand. So welcome to share from your side or any comments and questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lalita. It's very interesting and amazing journey of coral reef transplantation. What you did, it's so amazing. I saw your work in 5 years. It's so different. The changes of the coral reef from nothing to from zero to a successful story of coral reef transplantation. So you did many work here, and you dive for 20 years. You've been diving for 20 years, you say?
Unfortunately, yes. I think I started my diving from 2001.
Yeah.
But actually, it's not my work. Most of them is like my boss. Like I'm kind of third, fourth generation, and try and like make a story and tell you what we did for a long time. But I just
Okay. Okay, it's a very interesting share. Thank you for sharing, Dr. Lalita. Okay, so I will open a discussion session for what Dr. Lalita has shared. Maybe the first session will be 3 participants. So for ladies and gentlemen who wants to ask for Dr. Lalita about what she's been doing, you can say, you can raise your hand, or you can text in comment in chat box. Okay, I saw Mr. Ofri Johan raise hand. Bapak Ofri Johan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Lalita, yeah, thank you very much for your good presentation.
Thank you.
I'm Johan from National Research Agency Indonesia. I as a researcher, I interest your talk about the coral bleaching, coral disease, and coral transplantation. About the coral bleaching, I think interest you talk. Maybe my question is it different the impact coral bleaching when we compare maybe I call west of the island, maybe Andaman Sea.
Yep.
And the east maybe what they see because your island is elongate from the how do you call from the north to the south, I think. So it's good data, I think, when we compare with the west area and the east area, because the same case in the Indonesia at Sumatra, maybe it's the same position, I think. So West Sumatra coral bleaching in 1997. The interesting in your country 1997 and 1998 is not coral bleaching is not happen in your area. So for me it's interesting. In West Sumatra, zero. The impact of the coral is 100% coral dead. I'm thinking is it before I'm thinking about because increased temperature, but the problem there decreased temperature. Other good issue again is red tide. Red tide is made the coral competition to get oxygen when the at the night. So when coral when happen, the coral become dead until zero. It's very interesting in West Sumatra. And interesting in your area is no coral bleaching there. That the first question. The second is about the yellow band loss disease. I saw your picture. I saw also the problem in Indonesia. We found yellow before I said yellow syndrome. After I analyzed in Bremen University, it is ZMT. I check the identify the what kind of the disease. Actually, my target is bacteria, but I found a kind of the sponge, a very thin sponge, transparent. The color is yellow. But I saw in your photo it's not kind of the sponge because there is the dead part of the impact of the disease. The different with the sponge still live and crush until the all of the colony. So when the all covering of the all colony, but the coral still live. So I saw it's different. My question: what environmental factor cause the yellow band disease? In literature, I saw yellow band disease. Yellow band loss disease can cause the environment factor like pollution, sediment, and what temperature as well.
Yep.
Yeah, the transplantation is good. I second question, no question. Maybe comment. Transplantation is
Okay.
good. More progress. Yeah, we in Indonesia we have many method also, and maybe everybody in here have the program about coral transplantation and rehabilitation in Indonesia. Yeah, it's good. The research method I think is the same in Indonesia, like Transact, and yeah, I think I very familiar with the method. It's only comment. Thank you, Lalita. Your good presentation.
Thank you very much, Subhan. Thank you. To be
Thank you, Bapak Ofri.
for the first question about the coral bleaching in 1997, right? I think, to be honest, nowadays we have the network, the volunteer, we have social media. So I think we have the eyes, I think, cover underwater in the area. I mean, but if any diver come to the reef and then they see why, so report to us. So we have the very intensive information, and we also have a website to report like the bleaching for the whole country for the present day. But I think, to be honest, in 1997, the survey maybe is not really through the area, and probably some area we cannot, we have the limited researcher survey the coral reef and coral bleaching. So probably at some point that we may miss the bleaching if it happened, but we don't really have the report in that year.
Okay.
Yeah. And for the yellow band disease, I think I saw the publication from the Indonesia about the yellow syndrome in the Indonesia. From the literature review, the yellow band, I mean the yellow side on the coral, they can create the different, they can trigger by the different pathogens, especially when they happen with the different coral species. The pathogen should be probably they are different. And also the color of the yellow, probably from the substantially, maybe from the coral tissue. We don't really study about the histology. We have planned, but and we also don't really have the full result from the pathogen analysis. I think when we have the laboratory results, probably we can diagnose the name or the cause or the and the further information better than now. But for now, I just refer this name like yellow band tissue loss disease from the last publication. Compare from the description of the disease. Because of the yellow create the tissue loss, and that's why they put the tissue loss. In case of tissue band disease, like the typical one that the first use tissue band disease. I think the yellow one, the coral still present the tissue with the yellow color. But in my case, there is none the tissue already lost. So I use the name of, I follow the literature. And we have planned to study further to know the actual pathogen. And after the pathogen, probably we can guess the real factor. Of course, we thought it's probably one of the environmental factor, temperature, water, pollutants, sediment, or garbage. I mean, it can be any cause that we cannot really confirm yet. I think this is similar situation for the around the world. I mean, many people try to relate with the temperature related with the water quality, but I think I don't see the one that have the sharp conclusion and you can point out because of the create the disease, not really. Yeah, I mean, to know the actual cause is very important because of otherwise, if we can help the coral for now, there is no guarantee that the disease will not come back if we don't really know the actual cause. So we try to know, but for now, to be honest, we are kind of starting not really know everything about them. There are many question marks for us. Yeah. Is that I answer your question?
Yeah. Yes, sir. You said outbreak, is that right?
I think for now, for the Satahib, I think we can call outbreak. Just only this specific area.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is a reference about the scale of outbreak, local outbreak, region outbreak, and world outbreak, something like that from Australia. I forgot the author. Is it you follow the scale of when we said the outbreak? It should be how many colony in the we said local, we said region, we said worldwide, something
I
like.
see, but I don't remember by my heart. It's good question. I will find out the answer. Yeah, it's good that I think there is the number called outbreak. If there
Yeah.
are more some numbers, so we can call outbreak. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
I don't really remember. Yeah, but for
Yeah,
now,
okay.
I mean, I use the word of the outbreak because of I find almost every site, every coral reef in that specific area. Yeah.
Okay. Thank
Yep.
you.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Ofri. Okay, thank you, Dr. Lalita, for answering. Okay, let's move to another question. Is there any another question for Dr. Lalita? You can raise your hand. Or
There's a question. There's a question in the chat room from Mas Barmawi.
Yeah, there's a question in thank you box from M. Barmawi, Dr. Lalita. What has been Thailand done to stop coral reef degradation? Worry about this?
Yes and no. I mean, for the main threatening factor of our coral reef for now is about the coral bleaching and marine debris and sedimentation load from the land. But we do the cooperation with the local community in terms of the tourist, like ecotourism, like a tourist green fins, traveling to save coral, something like that. It for the in terms of touristic activities, yes, we do. We try to inform people how to travel, like do the friendly travel to the coral reef. But for now, I think travel is not the main threatening factor for our coral reef. That's why the no is because of the coral bleaching. They kill corals for the larger time, larger area compared to the tourist activities. But we also communicate with the general people and everyone that what should we do during coral bleaching, right? Coral bleaching is like you can compare to the sick people. I mean, they are sick, that they don't die first. They don't die yet when they got the bleaching for the first few weeks. They probably then can covering, but they cannot assist or they cannot but they're weak. So if we reduce other treatment factor, probably they can support the recovery of the corals. Otherwise, they will die maybe faster. That's what we can do. And also for now, moreover, social media in Thailand, especially Facebook, many people use this, especially for communicate and for create the diving community, and everyone like inform each other just in case if anyone find the garbage, the big fishing net, they will inform and they try to remove it. I mean, there are many people, driver, volunteer that try to save and look an eye on the coral reef. So I think we have a big team, but it's still, there are still a lot of treatment factors, so they're still there.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lalita. So you also use social media like Facebook to communicate
Yes.
with people. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Especially the coral bleaching. I mean,
Okay.
at the beginning, I will observe the Facebook and try to get the information. Whoever report, today I find the coral getting white, something like that. So I give them the direct message to add the detail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's useful using social media. Do you
At
think?
some point, yes.
Okay. Thank you for the answer, Dr. Lalita. Is there any question? All the participants here, you can raise your hand or you can write in the chat box if you have question for Dr. Lalita.
Or you can share any view, different method and whatever.
Yeah, or if you want to share or share your opinion or give your comments about your method or your work, it's feel free to share and to discuss here.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
In Indonesia, do you have kind of big project of the coral transplantation or coral rehabilitation from the government agency? Like many organized, many people, private sector come and join, like a promote as a nation country or something like that.
So like a program to
Like like a program or activities.
From the government or
like everyone come and help to do like a big project. Is there anyone?
Yeah, maybe okay, so the question from Dr. Lalita for everyone in here, maybe in Indonesia do we have a project to help the coral reef transplantation? Is that correct? Your question? Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe one of you want to answer the question of Dr. Lalita so we can discuss.
Yeah, maybe I can help.
Yes, Bapak Ofri.
Thank you.
Actually, we have I saw the name of participant. Many participants have on project about the coral transplantation, but I can talk about the first time for my master. We have project that sponsored by coral exporter for give fund for the student. I am from IPB for my master. 1998, 1999. So after that, maybe 15 or 20 students study coral transplantation in Seribu Island, near from Jakarta. After that, I joined with the Ministry of Fisheries. Before now, we have a big project, but I know one how do you call one group, one directorate one directorate have the big project around Indonesia to give how to transplantation the method. So we use the rack, table rack with the nets, covering with the net and new substrate. So we give tutorial to all local fisheries in its province. So and national park, marine national park employee. So all maybe I'm thinking all fisheries, region fisheries around Indonesia and marine national park employee have know the method. So after that, develop, everybody have many program, coral transplantation like IPB concept with the how do you call with electric, something like that. Begin maybe can explain about the electric, dioda, cathoda, something like that. We have how do you call patent? IPB have patent about the how transplantation about biorok. We call biorok. Maybe anyone can add my explanation. We have big project in Indonesia, many projects.
The biolog is still running, the biolog project.
Yeah.
Maybe Dr. Begin or Dr. Chris wants to explain. Because the biorock project.
Yes.
Okay, Dr. Chris, maybe you want to share your experience?
Yeah, for the biorock, I know Begin is one of the founder of Biorock Indonesia, but what I've seen is the Biorock in Lombok, it's still running. So they work together with the hotel and tourism. So yeah, the Biorock in Lombok Island still working, and yeah, a lot of different methods. I'll send you my paper, Lalita, I did the review last year of different restoration program in Indonesia. So I can send you the paper. I was hoping to have a similar review from Thailand, Philippines, Malaysia, Singapore, and the Southeast Asia country. I think that's some of the projects are well maintained. Some of the projects are really a one-off show, with no further maintenance or no further monitoring, and then they becoming like the underwater junk. It's quite ceremonial, and but some of the maintained one are really, really good, quite success. But of course, we have to be careful with the choice of different species used, because most of the restoration tend to use the fast-growing acropora. That's quite vulnerable to increase in temperature. And yeah, I think that's for me.
Lalita, you still in mute?
Yes, sorry. I just, probably we got some of the same problem with the long-term monitoring. We have many projects, but not all of them got the monitor and summarize the good and bad from the technique. So this is a kind of, I think it's important. Otherwise, we will repeat the thing that probably is not really success. But we'll repeat it if we don't really make a summary, which one is good and bad, for where. Because of every place, I think every coral reef have their own specific condition. Water quality, coral species, turbidity, sediment, water quality. So everything, then we cannot really copy the technique from the successful place to every places. Because of we found out it doesn't make sense. It wasn't success for many places. Even we do exactly the same. So this is a tricky of the coral rehabilitation form, I think.
Yes, it has become a problem in many places, I guess.
Okay, thank you, Pak Ofri, Mbak Ade, for the explanation. Yeah, like Pak Ofri said, Lalita, we have many projects in Indonesia about coral transplantation, and maybe it's not running only by government. Many institutions had it. Even students also have the project of coral rehabilitation in their student activities here in Indonesia. Okay, yeah. So actually, many people here concerned in coral health. So hopefully it will be it gets better year and a year. Okay. Yep. So we have time. We still have time. Maybe another question if the attendees here want to ask another question to Dr. Lalita about her work in coral transplantation, or in anything that she already shared to us this afternoon. You can raise your hand, or if you cannot using your microphone, you can write your question in chat box. So, do you have another question? Oh, Bapak Ofri again. Okay, silakan, Pak.
I'm sorry, interesting about the coral disease again. Have you did analyze what kind of the bacteria, the impact yellow band disease? I'm thinking yellow band disease only monospecies of bacteria. That I'm thinking, if I not mistake, my reference is in my mind.
Yeah, for sure it's Vibrio. This is not surprise, but for the species, we're still waiting for the confirmation, and it's long way to go because of after you got the tissue and then you test the pathogen, but you still have to culture the pathogen and insert back to the coral to get confirmed the pathogen create the disease. So I think we still have long time to go for the confirmation. But yeah, roughly what we get. But as I told you that we find at least 15 coral species, but now we just study only 2 parietes and a corpora. So we don't really sure that the other coral species we will have the same bacteria.
Oh yeah, this Vibrio. Okay, Vibrio harpei. Yep. Is it the reference or your lab result?
I'm sorry. It should be this one. So we work together with the IPB University. For copra, it will be YBO, alginol, Lyticus. But for the porosities, we're still waiting for the confirmation from the lab.
Okay, so
Yep.
Okay. Free. Is that enough, or you want to
Okay.
ask more?
Thank you, Ina.
Okay, thank you.
I think we have one question in the
Yes,
chat.
in chat box we have Hazrul. Question for Dr. Lalita. For turbid reef region, what are the strategies to have successful coral transplants? For coral transplants, what are the smallest size required? For nursery period, how many months did the new fragments need in order to stabilize for upcoming monsoon? Thank you. Dr. Lalita, you can answer it.
Actually, for the turbid, for the turbid leaf, I think actually in Thailand, turbid leaf still has the good condition, but just not many people go and look at them because of the turbidity. But compared to the clear water and beautiful leaf, the coastal coral reef in Thailand, the turbid area, they are still stay healthy. And actually, if the turbidity as much as they are not increasing from the coastal loading, they are good for them because already coral adjust their strategy to live there. Actually, I used to do the short funny experiment kind of. I just because of in front of my center, just the island opposite the center, water pretty much clearer than the in front of at the center. So I just cross transportation, the turbid water to the clear water and clear water to the turbid water. Actually, the coral that from the turbid, when you transport to the clearer water, coral, they didn't go very well because of they used to with their own home already. When you transport them to the place that you think should be better from them, actually it's not because of every time you transport them, they get get stressed. So I think for the question, I think whatever they are, just keep the environmental like that, not more, or not get other stress. Yeah. The second one for coral transplantation, what's more size request? Actually, there are many kind of technique in the Red Sea. They use just they call napping. So the size just maybe lesser than 1 centimeter. You can do that if the Red Sea, the water pretty much very clear. So they use the napping and do the nursery until they grow up, and then the transplantation. They do the transplantation, or even sometimes some paper they study about when you put the small fragment from the same colony together, like put them close together, they will grow to each other faster than you put them very far, something like that. I mean, there are many techniques that, but for the question, you can use the very small size, less than 1 centimeter, if your water pretty much clear. And the period is about the starting size of the fragment. If you use bigger, probably the timing in front of timing on the nursery probably shorter, and also coral species. If you use the fast growing corals like Montifora or Copra, so probably just about 1 year, and then you can transport them. But in case of qualities, probably it depends, and also depend your size. If your size has like a lot of sediment, probably the fragment that get ready to transplant should be bigger than the size that water much clearer, something like that. It's also we don't have a magic bullet or one answer for every page. It's also the environmental factor, physical parameter from the site. Yes. I think, do I answer you?
Yes, I think you answer all of the questions very well. Okay, thank you, Dr. Lalita. I think we can end the discussion session here since it's already, the time is already near the end. Okay, so thank you again, Dr. Lalita, for sharing your work, your experience. It is very interesting, and it's can be a new insight for us here, and it's very fruitful discussion what we had this afternoon. Maybe Dr. Tris want to add something?
No, I think I just want to say on behalf of SCORES, we say thank you so much, Lalita, for your great research and the results and then the findings that you share with us. And I hope, in the future we can really work together. And we wish you the best of luck, tackling the yellow band disease and your restoration program. Thank you so much, Lalita.
Thank you very much for the
Thank you.
opportunities, and I hope we can work together in future. Bye bye.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lalita. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for attending this course this afternoon. I am a moderator today. Thank you again, Dr. Tris and Dr. Lalita and Dr. Beginner. Of course, I end this meeting today. We will see in another meeting of SCORES. Thank you again. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you, Nadya.
Thank you. Terima
Bye,
kasih.
Lalita. Bang Opi.
Bye-bye.
Bye semuanya.
Sama.